At this point, we've been doing a weekly show focusing on tech news for the better part of a decade. And during that time, tech has increasingly intersected with politics to the point where it's now basically impossible to discuss anything happening in the world of big tech without also discussing politics and vice versa. And that connection has become even more inextricable under the new Trump administration, with all of America's tech oligarchs falling in line behind the president's agenda in ways previously unseen. And one of them, the one who bankrolled Trump's campaign and now has tremendous oversight over the government, doing a Nazi salute multiple times at an inauguration rally. So all that's to say, we've got a very politics-heavy episode of our tech show for you today.
Yeah.
Don't say we didn't warn you.
I guess a good place to start with is the very thematically on-the-nose news that the U.S. Constitution currently, it's under a Error 404 message.
Could not be found.
Previously, WhiteHouse.gov's About the White House page contained 4 sections: Presidents, First Families, the Grounds, and Our Government. And that last one led you to a bunch of pages explaining the various branches of government as well as the Constitution. And the Constitution page not only listed out and explained each of the amendments, but also provided a basic explanation of how and why our Constitution came to be. That page's URL currently returns an Error 404, and the new About the White House page contains information on just the White House, Air Force One, and Camp David.
That's all people want to know about.
Yes,
Don't get everyone confused by telling them about like how our government works or, you know, the basic fundamental rights that everyone has in this country.
Show them what you get to have when you make it to the top.
Yeah, show them the sweet digs, the sick plane.
Well,
kind of weird considering how much Trump and his supporters claim to love the Constitution. You'd think they'd want it on full display. But we have some sneaking suspicions that Trump might secretly not love the Constitution.
yeah.
And one indication that that's the case is his executive order abolishing birthright citizenship, which is directly at odds with the very first sentence of the 14th Amendment. And it's nice to see that at a time when so many are bending the knee, attorneys general for nearly half the states in the country immediately sued to stop this unconstitutional madness. So, quick shout out to New Jersey, Massachusetts, California, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Michigan, Colorado, Delaware, Nevada, Hawaii, Maryland, Maine, Minnesota, New Mexico, Vermont, Wisconsin, and North Carolina, plus Washington, D.C. Also, special shout out to the ACLU. Seems like at any other point, this case would just be an easy layup of a case because it's right there in the Constitution. But I guess we'll see how this shit plays out because things are happening a little different this time.
Yeah, but speaking of executive orders, many of them were related to tech, or in the case of DOGE, they were about putting a tech billionaire in charge of government oversight. And ever since the Department of Government Efficiency was announced, the big question has been how the hell something like that would actually work, especially with Musk not technically holding a cabinet-level position. And it turns out DOGE isn't even a new department or even a new entity. It's literally just a rebrand of the existing U.S. digital service that was created under Obama, with the USDS abbreviation now standing for U.S. DOGE Service. Yes, that's an abbreviation within an abbreviation.
Hell yeah.
Very efficient, of course.
Very efficient.
Efficiency is the #1 goal.
We got abbreviations contained within abbreviations.
That's right.
Down here at DOGE.
Now, as for what this means for how DOGE will work, here's Business Insider.
Experts said bringing DOGE inside the federal government could avoid legal headaches. Minutes after Trump became president, DOGE was hit with 3 lawsuits. But it also raises new issues. DOGE is now subject to new transparency and ethical rules, particularly around public information laws. Being a part of the government also means Musk can't use his private fortune to fund DOGE's operations. Though one expert told BI that there would likely be easy ways for Musk to get around those limits.
Yeah, no shit.
DOGE's mission, per the executive order, is now to implement the president's DOGE agenda by modernizing federal technology and software to maximize governmental efficiency and productivity. Meanwhile, Trump's Office of Personnel Management is making moves reminiscent of DOGE's initial goals, asking federal agencies to put together lists of workers they could easily fire.
Cool. And a lot of those workers did get fired at 5 p.m. today if they had anything to do with any perceived DEI initiatives.
Yeah, basically, if they're not white, clearly they weren't qualified for the job. So get them out of there.
So cool. And since we're on the topic of Elon, we might as well get the rest of it out of the way. And thankfully, it is not much, and it is relatively boring compared with his multiple Hitler salutes that we already covered this week, which is, again, it has been fascinating, infuriating.
It's just, he's just stimming.
But
he's stimming.
The past
it's autism.
24
Everyone with autism does a Seek Heil all day long.
The past 36 hours or so has been a very telling window into the future of, actually that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And if it did, it's fine.
What you think you saw, you're wrong.
Yeah. Now, for starters, that Hitler salute seems to have been the last straw for a lot of people. And the reaction across a lot of big subreddits has been to finally cut the cord and ban links to tweets. Good job, everyone.
Which is good just from a user experience point of view, because opening up external links to Twitter, especially if you don't have the app, it just sucks.
Even before Musk, but specifically because of Musk, he made it very hard for doing any embeds or anything like that, and then visiting the site because he restricted it so much.
Yeah.
It was just a hassle if you weren't already signed in. But anyways, here's 404 Media with all the news on that. Hundreds of subreddits are considering banning all links to X.com in response to Elon Musk's salute at a Donald Trump inauguration rally that was celebrated by Nazis as being a Nazi salute. I like the way they put it. They framed it correctly.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what it was. The Nazis sure liked it.
Yeah, even Nick Fuentes is telling everyone to do the "My Heart Goes Out to You" salute now. Their reporting continues. The moderators of dozens of those subreddits have said that they have decided they will ban all links to X. Here is a video scroll of just some of the hundreds of subreddits that have considered the move over the last 24 hours, with many moderators putting the idea up for a vote among a subreddit subscribers.
And yeah, that's a whole lot of subreddits there. Mm-hmm. The article continues. The bans have run the political gamut, with the subreddits for many cities and states, such as r/New Jersey, r/London, Ontario, and sports teams banning all Twitter links. r/Christianity banned Twitter links with a GIF in which Musk's salute was put side by side with a neo-Nazis. Some subreddits are allowing screenshots from Twitter, but not direct linking. Big sports subreddits such as our NFL, our hockey, our baseball, and our NBA are all considering a ban, with moderators saying they will announce decisions shortly. A poll in our baseball shows that users are overwhelmingly in favor of having links banned in the subreddit.
Again, the best sport.
And
we got plenty of freaks of our own that love baseball.
Lots of freaks that love it and play in it.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
They also list off other big subs like Formula One, comic book movies, and Made Me Smile, which have either already banned Twitter links or have asked their community about it and received overwhelming responses saying, yes, please do it. Now, it's unclear how much of a dent, if anything, this will make in Twitter's traffic, but what's clear is more and more people see using Twitter as an endorsement of Elon Musk and his politics, and aren't going to use it if they don't have to.
No, it's an endorsement of him.
Yeah.
So don't use it. Blue Sky's working just fine. They actually added a video feed.
They did.
It's not great.
Yeah.
Needs some content, that's for sure.
It
is literally just
kind of dead.
They TikTokified just a normal video feed, so it's like horizontal videos mixed with vertical videos.
Now you can watch Aaron Rupar's captures from the TV, but on a endless
flipping
feed.
through it. Yeah. But well, if more people get there,
No.
Anyways, moving on to the Trump executive order that everyone saw coming, and speaking of TikTok, the 75-day extension on TikTok's ban. We've already covered the absurd chain of events leading up to TikTok's ban, and it's miraculous. Oh my God, amazing. Rise from the dead. A few short hours, not even 3 days. A few short hours later.
Better than Jesus.
Yep. And they, of course, made sure to directly credit Trump with that. But it's
Thank you, President Trump.
But it's very clear that aside from getting the credit for saving TikTok, Trump still believes in banning TikTok if they fail to sell themselves to a U.S. buyer. He just thinks he'll succeed there where Joe Biden failed. TikTok remains unavailable in the app stores, and it appears it'll stay that way until they change ownership. Whether Trump can actually succeed here is unclear, since ByteDance already played chicken with the U.S. government once and won, but Trump's taking a more hands-on approach than Biden in making a deal happen. So
it's the art of the deal. Deals are his art form.
Yes, this is actually his Iran-Contra agreement, not the Israel-Palestine deal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this was planned out before to hurt Biden the worst way possible. Here's CNBC.
President Donald Trump said on Tuesday that he'd consider the possibility of Tesla CEO Elon Musk or Oracle chairman Larry Ellison purchasing TikTok. At a press briefing to announce a joint venture for investing in artificial intelligence infrastructure, Trump was asked by a reporter if he was open to Elon buying TikTok. "I would be if he wanted to buy it, yes," Trump said in response. "I'd like Larry to buy it too. What I'm thinking about saying to somebody is, buy it. Give half to the United States of America, Trump said, and we'll give you the permit. Trump said ByteDance would have the ultimate partner in the U.S., which would make it very worthwhile for them in terms of the permits and everything else. The permits.
We love permits.
You need permits.
He's a real estate guy.
I know.
You got to get the permits. Now, it's unclear what the hell he means with permits. It's just a stand-in for any paperwork or law or anything.
The permits.
Yeah. But Trump spent most of his life as a real estate developer and seems to view the world in those terms. So,
to everyone else's detriment.
Yeah. Again, you have to do a little bit of deciphering when Trump talks.
The permits.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, as stupid as selling TikTok to Elon Musk seems, it's apparently an option the Chinese government has seriously considered, as reported earlier this month in Bloomberg. A potential high-profile deal with one of Trump's closest allies holds some appeal for the Chinese government, which is expected to have some say over whether TikTok is ultimately sold, said the People. Musk spent more than $250 million supporting Trump's re-election and has been tapped for a prominent role in improving government efficiency after the Republican takes office. Under one scenario that's been discussed by the Chinese government, Musk's ex, the former Twitter, would take control of TikTok US and run the business together, the People said. With more than 170 million users in the US, TikTok could bolster X's efforts to attract advertisers. Musk also founded a separate artificial intelligence company, XAI, that could benefit from the huge amounts of data generated from TikTok.
And this is clearly better than the current situation.
Well,
the Chinese taking our data, harvesting it for their nefarious purposes? No, no, no. Elon Musk taking our data and harvesting it for his nefarious purposes? Yes, please. Bring that boot over here. I want to lick it.
Not just that, but as long as daddy gets a taste too.
Yeah, I mean, I get where the Chinese are coming from with this, because it's just like, everything's a fucking grift now.
Yeah.
They
have an incredible
casino is open.
They have incredible financial pressure over Elon Musk.
That's right.
So it's just it just seems pretty obvious that this isn't something that you would want to be involved in. Also, like, based on his track record, he's just gonna ruin it. So like,
yeah,
I don't know. The thing that will suck the most is if he gets like just retroactive access to all of that data for his AI.
I mean, it's still not even clear like how any of this shit would work. Like, you know, because
if he was confident that the X current install base would use a video sharing app, he could, and has already teased multiple times but hasn't done it, revive Vine.
It's too late.
Exactly. Yeah. So they want this for a reason. And it's not just to share funny videos on a platform.
I could see his dumbass changing the name of TikTok to Vine.
Yeah.
Which, like, once again, you're taking literally you're buying the brand.
Yeah.
Which then the brand awareness and ruining it by changing the name to something much less recognizable, especially with the target audience, teenagers, who were not born yet when Vine was around.
Again, much like with the purchase of Twitter, there are almost certainly nefarious means going on behind the scenes here.
Yeah, this was, they'd be getting a lot more out of it than just Elon's money.
Elon doesn't care about you sharing funny videos.
Anyway, they don't even address it in that article, but it seems like the kind of thing that would usually raise some pretty big antitrust red flags, because, like, he already owns X, he owns many other companies, I don't know. Usually that would raise concerns, but hey, we live in hell now, so it probably won't matter.
No.
I mean, clearly, aside from the many other perks that guys like Zuckerberg and Bezos are getting out of their new alliances with Trump, they're also positioning themselves as potential TikTok buyers.
I fucking said, saying this for so long.
Yeah, it's, they all see, there's blood in the water, and they want to at least, even if the chances are low, it would be foolish of them to ignore this opportunity and not at least be waiting in line to catch TikTok when it falls, and hope that TikTok gives them the rose at the end of the episode.
The one positive thing that I can see coming out of all of this is that we eventually do get a much more actual decentralized internet that people pay to support, because the other options are going to be working with these tech oligarchs.
Yeah, I mean, this is all making a great case for it.
I pay for a search engine now because Google sucks that bad.
It's just going to take a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it exists, but it's very, the scale is small, and it's going to take a while. But yeah, this is a pretty good wake-up call that, all the people that own the major tech companies are evil and don't have your best interests at heart, and algorithms are evil and destroy your brain.
Yeah,
and
they're designed to.
And there's got to be a better way. And there is, but probably going to take a little while.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's also Mr. Beast. who this week was reported as being part of an investor group that's interested in purchasing TikTok in an all-cash deal, which Mr. Beast's reps immediately denied. But it sounds like he's just talking.
An all-cash deal? This is worth billions of dollars.
Well, it's not just him.
Yeah, I know.
It's him and a bunch of fucking rich people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like Jimmy Donaldson is just talking. He's just answering the phone whenever it rings, and he's talking to every possible investor group that's trying to get in on TikTok, and but he hasn't committed to joining them, but he's talking to them, and then those groups are going and being like, we got Mr. Beast on the team, and he's like, no, you don't, but it's too late because they already printed the headline.
Yeah.
It's so dumb, but yeah, I wouldn't bet on this happening.
Well, the one thing I'll say is that Mr. Beast would be the face of it's like Blackstone coming in and being like, Mr. Beast, we got, hey, remember that $100,000 you put in, Mr. Beast? We would love for you to be, and by the way, we're tying so many of your rewards and bonuses to the success of this. So please get out there and be the face of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure whoever buys TikTok would be happy to throw him an insane amount of money to like lend legitimacy to the platform, even though his legitimacy is
seems to be waning.
Not at its best point lately.
You don't really hear much about that Amazon show, and it's been out for months now.
Yeah, that is strange, and it seems Amazon spent a whole lot of money on it.
You'd think it would have any effect on the culture whatsoever, to the point where, I don't know, maybe there was a winner at some point, and I would know who that person is.
I've not heard a single thing about the Mr. Beast game show, not from someone who actually fucking worked on it.
Yeah. Anyways, even if TikTok survives via a sale, a lot of its users have become so disillusioned by how this has played out and the continuing uncertainty of it all that they're done with it, or they're just actively looking to migrate.
They're refugees.
Again, we talked last week about the sudden influx of American users to Chinese language TikTok competitor RedNote, and we imagined how surprising this must have been for RedNote's owners, whose user base is overwhelmingly Chinese, of course. Well, since we covered that news, it's come out that RedNote has been scrambling to hire English-speaking content moderators to deal with this, and also may be planning a way to segregate the feeds of its US-based users from its users in China based on IP addresses, which a lot of Chinese users based in the US are not very happy about. But China doesn't want too much uncontrolled American influence on its citizens, which, yeah, pretty ironic considering everything else about this mess.
Yeah.
Also, it's going to be too late. I'm sorry. By the time you hire all these people and do this where you separate the app, like, no one's going to be left on it.
I mean, I think there will be, but it won't be a significant amount of people. It has been interesting. Like, I've seen some very funny videos of people just like fully on board with RedNote, and they're like learning Chinese, and they're like, it's great, it's so refreshing. I feel like at least a few of those people will stick around because it is fascinating. But it's a nice change of pace.
My favorite screenshot is the one where some who claimed to be a user of RedNote said, wow, the U.S. minimum wage really is $7.25. I thought that was my country's propaganda.
Yeah, it's been an interesting like cross-cultural dialogue, which both countries don't really want. Although I feel like China is being a little overcautious here because they're clearly winning the battle of ideas here.
Yeah.
Like, so many people are just like, wait, they're just looking at Chinese people living their lives, and they're just like, oh, I was told these people all eat rocks. What the fuck?
Remember that guy that drank beers really fast?
Yeah, Pongzai.
Yeah, he's probably doing fine.
Yeah, he is. I don't think he drinks the beers so much anymore. Sounds like his wife made him cut it out.
Listen to her.
But he posts still occasionally.
Good. The king.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. RedNote isn't the only TikTok competitor gaining users in this time of uncertainty for TikTok. Apps with names like Clapper, Flip, and Likey also shot up the App Store charts in the lead up to TikTok's ban. Meanwhile, every major U.S. social network has quickly added new features to feel more like TikTok.
Yeah.
Instagram obviously was already the closest thing to TikTok, but Twitter and Blue Sky are also attempting to seize the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Here's The Verge. While TikTok is already crawling back online in the U.S., uncertainty around the video platform's future has created an opportunity for Blue Sky, X, and others to seize. Over the last few hours, both social media platforms introduced new features, including dedicated tabs and feeds for video content that make it easier for users to discover and watch vertical videos in their apps. Yesterday, Instagram announced a new rival to CapCut, the video editor owned by TikTok's parent, ByteDance, just after it went offline in the US. We had to get in on the video action too, said Blue Sky with the launch of customizable feeds for videos. Users can swipe up or down on these feeds to flip through videos and create targeted feeds that only pull video content from specific hashtags, such as this Book Sky feed that riffs on TikTok's Book Talk reading community.
Again, the Blue Sky thing works fine.
Yeah, functionally.
But there's no content there.
Yeah.
There's just nothing on the site in the form of short or long form video.
Yeah.
So it has the chance to be better. And also, yeah, it is nice that you can whittle down to your specific things. It's just
customizability is the best part of an open source algorithm, or not even an algorithm. It's just open source. You can make your algorithm whatever the fuck you want it to be.
And over on Twitter, like I had accidentally got into their video feed for.
It's all just like snuff films.
Yeah,
and,
it's
like,
rotten.com. It's fucked up.
Yeah,
that's what people are posting there.
Yeah, it's a really
your content is only what people are uploading.
It's a really awful place.
Yeah, I mean we're obviously both no longer using Twitter and have fully migrated to Blue Sky. I don't even have I haven't had the Twitter app on my phone for I can't remember.
I still have it because there's so many times where someone links to something and I have to fucking open it, because opening Twitter links in like just a web browser is
I
awful.
just give up.
Yeah.
Now. So anyways, this is obviously more intriguing to us, the whole Blue Sky video thing, but it's also intriguing because Blue Sky's open source nature means there's multiple third-party apps in development that basically take your Blue Sky feed and just turn it into TikTok. The thing is, Blue Sky currently only supports videos up to 1 minute in length. There's not a ton of accounts posting much video on there, and the video content that is on there is mostly just news clips and things of that nature. Not the sort of videos that you see on TikTok that are clearly shot and edited specifically for that format. And maybe that's fine.
Yeah, we don't need brain rot on Blue Sky.
But it does go to show you that you can't just make TikTok happen by adopting a TikTok UI. You know, it'd be cool to see people start posting content to Blue Sky, but it's doubtful it will make for much of a TikTok replacement. They really need to, and I believe
if they expand the video length, I would be happy to start posting on there.
And that's what I'm saying is that there's already been people who have raised their hand and said, yeah, I'll pay for Blue Sky if I can get perks like extended video upload time limits.
They've said it's in the cards, but they have a roadmap that has a lot of shit on it. I think there's still like less than 100 people working for Blue Sky. So it's still early days, and I think this could happen much further down the road.
Yeah, I agree with Ben Collins posted today, Tim Onion.
Yes.
That I am, just like him, very thankful that Blue Sky exists just the past week alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just happy there's another option besides Elon's
I can
thing.
see what's happening. I can stay abreast of the news, but I don't have to lose brain cells by
I don't have to go into the German
Twitter.
beer halls to check out what's going on.
Yeah, it's upsetting, but it's less upsetting than I guess it would be otherwise.
Well.
Anyway, while we're on the topic of China,
it
is kind of interesting that all the talk about how dangerous TikTok is has overshadowed the fact that there was recently an actual bona fide national security incident involving allegedly state-sponsored Chinese hackers breaching the US Treasury Department. Here's Reuters from last Thursday. US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's computer was hacked and unclassified files were accessed as part of a broader breach of the Treasury Department by Chinese state-sponsored hackers, Bloomberg News reported on Thursday, citing two people familiar with the matter. The computers of two of Yellen's lieutenants, Deputy Secretary Wally Adeyemo and Acting Undersecretary Brad Smith, were also breached, the report said. The hackers accessed fewer than 50 files on Yellen's machine, Bloomberg said. And yeah, that kind of underplays it. Reportedly, the hackers, which is a group, I think they're calling them Salt Typhoon. Cool name, I guess. They got into more than 400 computers and accessed thousands of files containing a lot of information on topics like sanctions and stuff like that. Items relevant to China's interests. Most of it sounds like it was unclassified, but yeah, this is still bad. And it's weird that TikTok, being a big old threat, has overshadowed like this.
Well,
happening.
where do you think the hackers learned it, Elliot? They learned it on TikTok, right?
And they learned it from you, Dad.
So if TikTok being owned by China is bad, I mean, you got to assume the new administration is taking this actual hack very seriously. But you'd be wrong. Here's TechCrunch. On Tuesday, a day after Donald Trump's inauguration as the new U.S. president, the Department of Homeland Security told members of several advisory committees that they were effectively fired. Among the committees impacted is the Cyber Safety Review Board, or CSRB, according to sources familiar with the board who spoke to TechCrunch, as well as reporting by other news outlets. The CSRB was made up of both private sector and government cybersecurity experts. One person familiar with the CSRB, who received the letter informing them that their membership in the CSRB was being terminated, criticized the decision. Shutting down all DHS advisory boards without consideration of the impact was horribly short-sighted, the person, who asked to remain anonymous, told TechCrunch. Stopping the CSRB review when China has ongoing cyber attacks into our critical infrastructure is a dangerous blunder. We need to learn from Salt Typhoon and protect ourselves better. The fact this isn't a priority for Trump is telling. Yeah, and this just brings up so many, like, just gaping wounds in America in general, based on our infrastructure that obviously should have been fixed a long time ago. But yeah, just...
Well, that's what DOGE is for.
But just like going back to that book, This Is How the World Ends, that came out at this point 3 or 4 years ago, where just every major city on Earth is just susceptible to catastrophic damage through hacking.
Yeah.
Like they're just their general infrastructure, their power, their water, dams, like it's actually fucking scary.
And especially in the US, like shit is wildly outdated.
Yes!
And especially vulnerable. And all it would take is one good hack to like do some really bad damage to infrastructure.
Yeah, there was that time, it was, before the war kicked off, but Russia did like a test attack and just shut down for like a night.
Yeah, they had,
hey, we can do this.
They did it multiple times.
Yeah.
Where, they before the war, where Ukraine their shit just stopped working.
Yeah.
And
probably something we should focus on.
Concerning. Yeah, looking into it.
Absolutely. Nope. Not looking into it.
We're gonna find the lowest bidding startup out of Silicon Valley, and we're gonna fix this.
Who's also outsourcing it 10 times down the line too. Yeah.
And that'll keep us secure.
Yes. Anyways, we do have lots more news to get to you today. But first, we got to let you know that this episode is sponsored by Shopify. It's 2025, and a new year means new opportunities. And for a lot of you out there, I know you've been thinking about one thing over those holidays, and that is starting your own business. But you have so many questions. How do you get started? How do you come up with a brand? How do you sell stuff to people? What are you going to sell? Take a deep breath. Shopify's got you. How do we know? We had the same questions. We started a small business. We learned a lot. A lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But here's what we learned. And the best time to start your business is obviously right now. It always is. Shopify makes it simple to create your brand, open your business, and get your first sale. Get your store up and running easily with thousands of customizable templates. No coding or design skills required. All you need to do is drag and drop. Their powerful social media tools let you connect all your channels and create shoppable posts and help you sell everywhere that people scroll.
Shopify makes it easy to manage your growing business. They help with the details like shipping, taxes, and payments from one single dashboard, allowing you to focus on the important stuff like growing your business. What happens if you don't act now? Will you regret it? What if someone beats you to the idea? Don't kick yourself when you hear this again in a year because you didn't do anything now. With Shopify, your first sale is closer than you think. Established in 2025 has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/newsday, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/newsday to start selling with Shopify today. Shopify.com/newsday.
This episode is also sponsored by Huel. Sup, Hooligans? It's a brand new year, and we're all about setting goals and actually hitting them. That's where Huel, spelled Huel, the global complete nutrition brand trusted by millions, comes in. Their Black Edition ready to drink is a complete meal in a bottle, high in protein, low in sugar, and packed with all the nutrients that your body needs to perform at its best. And right now, new customers can try it for 15% off plus a free gift using our exclusive code TechNewsDay15. And we love Huel because it's the fastest way to get all the protein and other nutrients our bodies need without having to worry about cooking or spending time and money on takeout. Just grab a Huel.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my protein up, and it's hard, but Huel makes it easy.
You gonna start running with me?
No.
You need it for your leg muscles.
Yeah, I know. Huel is a perfectly balanced meal designed by experts to provide all the nutrients your body needs from a meal. Huel takes the guesswork out of healthy eating. It's for your most inconvenient meals. With no prep, no cooking, say goodbye to getting hangry and unsatisfying snacks. Just grab a Huel instead. They taste so good. Huel shakes actually taste like a milkshake, and they come in delicious chocolate or vanilla. Bonus is they're low sugar. Lastly, Huel is incredibly affordable. With high protein meals less than $5, it's a budget-friendly option that we're genuinely excited to talk about. My personal favorite is the Black Edition ready to drink because it's got a whopping 35 grams of protein plus 27 vitamins and minerals, all in one handy bottle for those sweet, sweet gains.
Access to quality, quick, and easy meals hasn't been this easy and tasted this good since ever. Don't believe me? Take the leap and join the community of Hooligans with this exclusive offer for new customers of 15% off plus a free gift with the code TechNewsDay15 at Huel.com. That is 15% off plus a free gift for new customers with the code TechNewsDay15 at Huel.com. Start your year off strong. Unlock a healthier, easier way to eat with Huel. Nutritionally complete meals in minutes so you can focus on what really matters.
Okay, back to the news now. And the tech world's unabashed coziness with the new administration is bad. But it's also got lots of well-meaning people so paranoid that they're kind of seeing things that aren't really there.
Yeah, classic social media user, but normie social media user behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Yeah. No, I get it too.
Case in point, a lot of people have been freaking out about Facebook automatically making them follow the accounts of Donald Trump and JD Vance. It's being forced upon them. I mean, it wouldn't be all that shocking considering how much Mark Zuckerberg has bent over backwards lately to get into Trump's good graces by adopting essentially the exact moderation and fact-checking policies the Republicans want. But folks, it's not true.
No.
They're not forcing everyone to follow the president and vice president. Here's Mike Isaac in the New York Times explaining what's actually going on here. On Tuesday, the day after the inauguration of President Donald J. Trump, many Instagram and Facebook users found themselves following him on these social media apps even though they had not signed up to do so. What gives? Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, said it was part of a regular process in which White House social media accounts are handed over when a new president takes office.
Yeah.
It added that there were some other bugs in the process that may have mucked up the gears for the transition. Let's walk through what happened. Just as the federal government has to deal with the transition of power between administrations, Meta has to deal with it too.
For years, companies like Meta and X, previously known as Facebook and Twitter, respectively, have had to handle the social media accounts held by the office of the president as it changed hands after an election. That ramped up after Barack Obama took office in 2008 and fully embraced social media to garner support from voters digitally. By 2016, the companies needed to figure out how to hand those accounts off between administrations. Meta and X decided that the official POTUS, VP, and First Lady accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and X would be switched to the new administration while retaining the existing followers of those accounts. That meant that if you followed President Obama in 2016, you were automatically switched over to follow President Trump when he took office in his first administration in 2017. Mr. Obama's posts were archived under a different handle, while Mr. Trump's account reset with none of Mr. Obama's old posts attached. The transition occurred again in 2020 when Joseph R. Biden Jr. was elected and took over the official presidential account. On Monday, after Mr. Trump was sworn in, the switch occurred again. That's why you may be seeing his posts in your feed now.
Now, of course, there's lots of people who swear to God that they never followed these accounts. But 4 years, 8 years, 16 years, going back to 2008, it's a long time. And maybe when it was posts from Biden, you just didn't notice, especially since Biden presumably posted a lot less.
Yeah. And the way the algorithm works, well, there's two things. If you don't post in a while, you get shot to the top of the algorithm if you do like an actual post. So that immediately boosted it. And then
there's the civic content as well.
Where Mark Zuckerberg just pulled back the like anti-news filter that they had on everything.
Yeah, and just anti-politics, anti-civic content. So like,
yeah.
What is a bit odd, though, is that people who suddenly find Trump on their feeds and don't like it are apparently having trouble unfollowing him.
Yeah.
Meta claims that this is due to receiving such a high volume of unfollow requests targeted at specific accounts that the system is overwhelmed. And I don't know. Doesn't seem very believable to me, but I don't know how things work on Meta's back end.
Yeah, it seems like something that what could be assumed the most powerful internet social company on earth would have figured out the unfollow button.
I don't know. I mean, it sounds fishy, but also I have no fucking clue. Like,
I'm putting no weight into this. This is the most like non-story.
Like, we're talking like probably millions of people all trying to unfollow one person, and there's probably like nefarious activity filters in place for what, because that's like it's almost like a DOS in a way.
Yeah,
so
DOS,
sure, I'll take their word for it.
Yeah.
So they didn't force you to follow Trump, but you're not crazy for thinking they won't let you unfollow him.
Yeah.
And another thing that people aren't crazy about is Facebook and Instagram recommending Trump and Vance's accounts like right up front.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you following these people? Now this may be nefarious, I guess, but it's more likely to do again with the new algorithmic changes, removing the previous limits on civic content. Before, to lower the temperature on its platforms, Meta intentionally put less political content in people's feeds, but not anymore. And because the POTUS account has so many followers, it now gets equal recommendation weight as like Mr. Beast or whatever. So nothing nefarious is happening here aside from the nefarious stuff that we've already talked about ad nauseum.
Yeah, the one disheartening thing has been, I saw at least a post today where it was like, someone screenshotted like, couldn't help but notice that you're following Trump. it's like, go fuck yourself. That wasn't directed to me, but it was someone that I knew. And I was just like, I knew that this was going to be the case, that it was just the old accounts that had flipped and whatever.
I'm kind of surprised no one, like so many people didn't realize this, because this has happened at this point so many times over the years.
Well, I mean, I don't put much faith in the general user base on Instagram. They do that fucking, I declare that you cannot do my right things every 4 or 5 months.
You literally just look at the handle. It's like at POTUS.
Yeah.
Do you think Trump created that account?
Yes.
Are you stupid? Anyway.
But in other Trump news, he still hasn't formally announced those tariffs that he says will fix our economy, but he says they're coming soon. And as of right now, the plan is for a, 25% tariff on goods from Canada and Mexico and a 10% tariff on goods from China, which is an interesting distinction that we wish he would explain. Especially because we get a whole hell of a lot of stuff from Canada that's vital to our farming.
Vital to a lot of things. It's going to make the price of lumber go insanely high, and the Mexico tariffs are going to make the price of just vegetables go extremely high.
The Canada stuff too, though, because you got to have certain things to grow items, and it's going to be a lot harder. I just don't think the prices are going to be able to go down with these tariffs.
Sphagnum moss, which is so you can't use peat moss anymore because it's bad.
Okay.
It's great for growing seeds.
Yeah.
It's the best thing for it. But over hundreds of years, we've ravaged the Scottish countryside, and it's an ecological disaster. But turns out up in Canada, they've got their own peat moss called sphagnum, which does the exact same thing, and it'll take like 1,000 years to get even close to getting rid of it. And it's cheap, and it's great as a growing medium, and it's about to get so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
So gardeners, get it while you can, I guess, or switch to coconut coir.
There you go. Mr. Green Thumb over here.
Mr. Green Thumb.
It's almost like Trump knows how financially dependent the U.S. is on Chinese goods and how disastrous this will be for consumers and businesses and his businesses.
Yeah, because like, why 10% for China and 25% for our literal fucking neighbors? Like, I mean, I get that he's like mad at Canada and Mexico, but again, it all seems like pretty petty stuff compared to like China, our fucking mortal enemy. We're going to give them a better deal than Canada and Mexico? Okay.
But, yeah, whether it's 10% or 25%, it's still going to be bad because, as every economist has pointed out, it will likely just result in the tariff cost being passed on to the consumer, making things cost more for you. Now, a big reason average people were unhappy with Biden was the rising cost of goods, and it sounds like these tariffs will just make that even worse.
Everything will get more expensive except for eggs. Checkmate. Eggs will be like 5 cents. They're going to be a nickel, just like the old days. Everything else will be twice the amount of money. It'll be cripplingly expensive. But eggs, you're going to be rotten with eggs.
Well, all I eat is processed food, so I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, he even came out this week defending Trump's tariffs, while also acknowledging in a very condescending way that, shit's about to get more expensive. Grow up. Here's CNBC. Despite fears that the duties could spark a global trade war and reignite inflation domestically, the head of the largest U.S. bank by assets said they could protect American interests and bring trading partners back to the table for better deals for the country if used correctly. If it's a little inflationary, but it's good for national security, so be it. I mean, get over it, Dimon told CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin during an interview at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. National security trumps a little bit more inflation. So they're just, Listen, I know we said we were going to make things cheaper, but actually they're going to be more expensive, and you just got to deal with it. Suck it up. Anyway, once these tariffs kick in, don't expect anyone to have a moment of realization or anything. It's just going to be Joe Biden's economy spilling over into a different presidential term. What can you do? Trump's doing all he can to stop it with the tariffs. Maybe he should do more tariffs and fix Biden's mess.
Anyways, in other news, among Trump's many pardons, which included many violent militia members, he also pardoned Ross Ulbricht, a guy we haven't covered for a full decade since our earliest days making videos. He ran the dark web marketplace Silk Road, where people spent Bitcoin on all sorts of illegal things, mostly drugs. And it was the one and only use case for Bitcoin as an asset.
To this day, they still haven't found a second use for Bitcoin.
He spent nearly the last 10 years in prison on a life sentence for a variety of charges, including money laundering, hacking, running a criminal enterprise, and narcotics conspiracy. If you're wondering why Trump would pardon a guy like that, well, it's simple. The crypto weirdos who bankrolled his campaign asked him to. They just said, do it.
Yeah.
And listen, to be fair, a decade in prison for what Ulbricht was charged for seems mostly fair. Like, life in prison, it's a bit excessive. That's a lot. That's
I mean, I generally
very, very apt in a lot of cases, but
I generally think most prison sentences in this country are way too long, and 10 years is a long time. Like, losing 10 years of your life, I mean, that's a very severe punishment and shouldn't be.
He was clearly made an example of because it was the largest and most popular dark web marketplace.
Yeah,
I mean, it was,
and he did commit crimes. I want to be clear about that.
Yes. He did, however, on multiple occasions, try to hire contract killers on Silk Road that turned out to likely just have been people scamming him. Lucky for the potential victims there.
Woo!
But it seems like he fully intended on having people killed, and this is something that wasn't included in his case, and which his supporters just very conveniently ignored.
Yeah, it's it's the one thing like I distinctly remember from that time. It's like, oh, this guy like on multiple occasions tried to hire hitmen on his own website and got scammed every single time, but like clearly wanted people murdered, like 5 different people. But like because of the nature of it, they're like, well, technically no one died, so we can't charge him for it. And also, like, even including it in the government's case against him is like a little tricky because it's not really relevant to this other stuff. But we have a lot of documentation about that.
Yeah.
Just please don't forget about this in 10 years and just pardon him.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And just because someone told you to,
Yeah.
like for no other reason. It's not a good guy. And the real story here is that there's simply no way Trump would have pardoned this guy if people who gave him lots of money didn't directly ask him to.
Yeah, that's really all there is to this.
He literally thanked like the Libertarian Party. He was like, they asked me to free this guy, and they were very nice to me.
This is not a character. I mean, we saw this too with all the January 6th people. Like, I mean, if you look at just like on paper what these people are charged with, they would never be on a list of pardons, short or long, if not for the fact that Trump's supporters really want him to do it.
And they were his supporters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, final dumb politics story of today before we let you go. Republican Representative Dan Crenshaw of Texas, the one with the eye patch, opened up his Apple Maps app on Tuesday and got very upset when he zoomed out and saw that the Gulf of Mexico is still labeled as the Gulf of Mexico
I probably
in
didn't
the
see
app.
it clearly.
He had to.
He did one auga.
Does my eye deceive me?
It went auga.
So clearly this is a big tech conspiracy to undermine the agenda of our new president. And Crenshaw, he's not going to stand for it. He tweeted, "Hey, Tim Cook, just noticed Apple Maps still calls it the Gulf of Mexico. Sent a report through the app, but thought you'd want to know." Now keep in mind, this was literally less than a day after Trump signed the executive order. As a community note correctly clarifies, this is only a proposal and directs the Secretary of the Interior to begin taking action on it within 30 days. No renaming has yet occurred. Also, if you read the details of the order, only a portion of it is to be renamed, that which directly borders U.S. states. I didn't know that part, but that's extra stupid. There's going to be the Gulf of America and then below it, the Gulf of Mexico. It's one Gulf, but now it's 2.
We're going to put a big, beautiful seawall in there, folks. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Anyways, Matthew Galt of Gizmodo summed things up pretty well here. It seems that Crenshaw is upset, triggered if you will, that big tech isn't changing as fast as he'd like it to. He's so upset that he did a cringe post in the style of a suburbanite upset at Target. Crenshaw's whining typifies a behavior I've seen in right-wing pundits and politicians in the last few years. The rise of a kind of post and style once attributed to the left in online spaces. Crenshaw is posting cringe and doubling down on the culture war. They're obsessed with identity politics, attempting to cancel their enemies, policing gender norms, and demanding that the culture bend to their whims despite the culture not being interested. This is all the stuff they've long accused the left of doing. The American right has control over the Supreme Court, the presidency, and the legislature. That kind of total political victory isn't enough. They want you to like them too. They want you to laugh at their jokes, take their memes seriously, and call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
Yeah, that is...
They just want to be liked.
Hassan and also
Unfortunately-
Felix on Chapo Trap House have brought up this point a lot over the years, which is like that liberal affectation of like, just letting you know, like conservatives have fully adopted that in their own way over the years, and clearly don't realize it. But yeah, everyone sounds like a 2016 era lib, even when they're doing conservatism. It's interesting. Anyways, that's our show. We're exhausted, and I guess we're just going to always be exhausted all the time for the foreseeable future. But thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching us watch society progress, I guess. And yes, there's plenty of other stuff that we didn't manage to get to that you'll just have to stay tuned for, like the whole Pete Hegseth situation, which just gets ickier and ickier.
And he's not qualified.
And the fact that the South is currently covered in snow, it's fucking surreal. It's very weird.
Yeah.
And then also that bishop that told Trump directly to his face that his agenda is not very Christian.
And he's decided to put the full force of all of his followers against this person of God.
Cool. So we'll see you soon with more news. But for now, be sure to like the video.
Click the like button. Do it right now. I'm waiting.
Maybe leave a comment down below. It doesn't even need to be a comment. It can just be alongside.
Yeah, or as in the previous video, many people just posted, ah!
Yeah, but they're all tired from screaming, so now it's alongside.
With the smallest font you can find.
And if you haven't caught up with our other recent videos, they're over on the side now if you want to subject yourself to more of this fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that's right.
Goodbye.
Bye.